Ecclesiasticus, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 31. Right? Right. And we're going to start from verse 1, right? Ecclesiasticus, and we're starting at verse 1. Right? So scripture states, watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep. Watching care will not let a man slumber, as a sore disease breaketh sleep. We'll read the next verse as well. The rich have labor in gathering riches together, and when he resteth, he is filled with his delicates. All right. So, beloved, this is going to be dealing, definitely the first portion of this is going to be dealing with riches and things of that nature. All right. Now, as I always say, we have to be sober-minded. We have to understand the context and what things are dealing with. Okay, because there's a lot of misconceptions, misinformation out there, and that can be dangerous for people. Okay, so we want to make sure we divide the scriptures properly. What is it saying? Okay, so to dispel some of the things, all right. Some people can look at this and say, "See, riches is a problem." No, riches is usually not the problem, right? Money is just money. It's just some that the Most High have on here naturally. You got those things. We put the value on things, beloved. We make things bigger or better than it truly is. Okay. What in a sense? Yes, you need money to do certain things, beloved. Okay. We understand that. All right. Now, when that money, all right, you are compromising your faith for that money, that's where the issue comes in. Okay. Because you have people saying, oh, if you got money, it's a big sin and stuff like that. It's not the sin. Okay. It's the love of money. All right. What you going to do at what cost? All right. Will you seek and go after this money? All right. And that's not just for money, that's for anything. Right. Relationships. Some of us might compromise these commandments for relationships. That becomes a problem. You can make anything per se a God to you. Okay. If you are putting it more greater than what the Most High had in, how should I say it? More than the standard or the level that the Most High had for it. Okay. So it's a mindset with a lot of things. All right. You can turn something, all right, that was a blessing to you, whatever, you can turn it into a curse with the mindset. Okay. So watching for riches consumeth the flesh. Yes. And the care thereof driveth away sleep. So some people are consumed with it. All right. They can't even get proper sleep because they're so consumed with more. Okay. Watching care will not let a man slumber, as a sore disease breaketh sleep. Right? So some people get waking up. They just got to have it. Okay. The rich have great labor in gathering riches together. And when he resteth, he is filled with his delicates. All right. So there's a lot of people that are fortunate, are rich, and they're going to be more sometimes at peace. Be honest, right? They don't have that worry as somebody that needs it and or have a certain amount, right? Just to get maybe their basic necessities kept. All right. So there's two outlooks on that, right? But I want to look at something. It is in Ecclesiasticus, so let's get this. I'm going to stay right in here. Let's go to chapter 11 real quick, and I'm going to get a verse in there, and then we'll go back. Okay. So it's Ecclesiasticus chapter 11, and I'm going to read verse 19. I'm just going to go right to the point. Verse 19. Whereas he saith, I have found rest, and now will eat continually of my goods, and yet he knoweth not what time shall come upon him, and that he must leave those things to others and die. Right? We read this weeks ago. All right. But it's prevalent to what we're thinking. Some people are going to continually try to gather. And sometimes even with that, they're so consumed with that sometimes their soul is going to be required maybe that next day. And then all that they gather is going to be left to somebody else. Okay. So Christ makes the same point. He give a similar parable to this, right? He had more. Some people so consumed, I want to make bigger barns, bigger barns. They're so consumed on, I need more and more and more riches that sometimes, beloved, what do we fail to do? We fail to make the time for the Most High. We fail to gather the spiritual riches, so because we were so consumed on what? The natural riches. All right. That's where the sin lies. Okay. If your love for money is greater than your love for God, that's going to be the issue. Okay. Verse 4. Right. First of all, if you have something, just get off mute or you can put it in the chat. Let me pull the chat up for myself. All right, because I'm not really precepting outside of that. Verse 4. The poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy. He that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. Right? So the poor will work, all right, even in the state, the needy, okay, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy. Right? When he go, he still has need. But he that loveth gold shall not be justified. Understand the loving part that the writer's trying to get us to know. All right. He that loveth gold shall not be justified. It's not going to justify you that gold. And he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. Okay. So we want to be mindful because a lot of times, definitely when you look at the world, a lot of people that have, I'm talking about the wealthy people, right? There's a certain circle, but a lot of that a lot of people got from what? By ungodly gain, right? They got that money sometimes from cheating people, right? Out of their money, robbing people, right? All those kind of things. They did it unlawfully. All right. That's a problem. We do not want to, well, I was going to get to that as well. All right. But we should know that should be common sense almost to us. But if not, we do not want to get right ungodly gains. Okay. Because you got some people, you look in the shows in the Catholic Church, right? They'll go and these crime people, they go and kill and rob and take all this money, and then they want to give it to the church and like, just do your confession, you'll be all right and stuff like that. No, God don't want those kind of things. Okay. Because remember, this is supposed to be an offering. We understand we're giving to the church house intentionally set up, right? Not what you see now, intentionally set up. This was supposed to be an offering from what? Your heart. Right? I presenting this, something I work for. I'm giving this so the Most High can see, right, my heart towards him. So it was a monetary thing, a kind of a fleshly thing or a carnal thing to show a deeper spiritual thing. All right. So we're giving that. We're showing, okay, I'm giving my stuff to the Lord. I'm showing that I'm choosing first. So I'm going to give my substance to him. Okay. That was more the intent. All right. Now you just got a bunch of thieves sometimes just trying to rob people that, trying to do right and everything, stuff like that. Okay. We got to make sure what we're doing, we want to be a true offering to the Most High God. A true offering is not the amount. All right. The true offering is the intent of the Spirit when giving. Okay. And that's in every capacity. Right. See somebody struggling, right? And you want to give to them, that is still okay. Make sure you're being spirit led with it. All right. But the same thing. If you're doing it just so you can be on the, social media and say, look, I gave some money to this person. They was a deed, God bless me. That nah. I was already said you got your reward just by doing that, right? But we want to do things in secret. And we know that what? The Heavenly Father will reward us openly. Okay. Verse 6. Gold had been the ruin of many, and the destruction was present. And their destruction was present. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken therewith. All right. So, beloved, this chasing of the gold, chasing of the money, all right, has ruined many. There's a lot of people, all right, that had good intents with certain things, and then they got caught up, all right, in this chasing, this lusting of the money. Okay, not they're trying to get, you say get the bag or whatever, right? You're trying to get money so you can provide for you and your family, things like that. Not talking about that. But some people will still, well, I got to get more and more and more and more and more so I can really provide it. And you're going and doing things what you're not supposed to be doing. Okay, and compromising the things is right. It's ungodly gain. All right. It destroyed many people. There's been friendships destroyed because of what? Money. There have been love marriages destroyed because of what? Money. All right. So once again, I want to be mindful. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it. Okay, think about that. They sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken therewith. Okay, so there are those, like I said, this is not just liking it. I got to get it by any means necessary. You're willing to sacrifice or compromise anything to get it. That's become a big stumbling block for a lot of people. Okay. You go, you obtain the money, all right, things of that nature. You don't let that money turn you into something you're not. Okay. But a lot of people get to what? They're sacrificing. Okay. Verse 8. Blessed is the rich that is found without blemish and have not gone after gold. Right? So blessed is the rich person that what? Found without blemish. So somebody saying it's a sin to be rich, and that ain't what it says. All right, it says blessed is the rich. But here's the caveat: is found without blemish. How did you acquire those riches? All right. Was it through drugs and destroying your people? Was it through cheating? Okay, cheating people out their money, lying, deceiving, all those kind of things. Then you got some blemishes on how you got that riches. So that's not blessed. But the person that did it without doing those things, your riches is blessed. All right. And have not gone after gold. Okay. Have not done the ungodly things to obtain these things. Verse 9. Who is he? And we will call him blessed. For wonderful things have he done among his people. All right. And that should be, I told you, everything's a mindset. The Most High is doing all this. The Most High bless you. If he gave you more and abundant than you particularly need, what do you do with that? Right? There's some people that get their money, it's all about me and, kids I have, and they have more than, they can spend in 4 or 5 lifetimes. Sometimes they don't worry about what? Trying to help their people. All right, Israel, we're supposed to be thinking about our people. Okay, you definitely need to take care of the household. That is the first obligation, right? But this is why the Most High had certain things. This is why it was tithes and offering, things like that. That will be how you what? Take care of the people. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 10. Who have been tried thereby and found perfect, then let him glory. Who might offend and have not offended, or done evil and have not done it? His goods shall be established, and the congregation shall declare his alms. All right. So this person is going to be, admonished or, maybe praised for how they did things. They did it right, and they're doing right by it. Okay. We are going to call them blessed. Are you blessed? Right. So this is where the honor comes with. All right. Not about the amount. Okay. But by the intent of how you gained it. All right. And what you do. The Most High values all that. Okay. All right. Anybody got anything before I keep going? All right. His goods shall be established, and the congregation shall declare his alms. Verse 12. If thou sit at a bountiful table, be not greedy upon it, and say not, there is much meat on it. All right. So I tell you, look through the scriptures. It also gives us, daily little gems. All right. Things that can sometimes give you favor, beloved. All right. It's not just thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. These things can give you favor among people. All right. So when you look and you're at a spread, you're at a feast, you see all these, delicacies right here. And this is talking about, feast, you got all these spreads, you got, like the chicken over here, your beef over here, you got all these kind of things, steak and all this kind of things, right? It says when it's a lot, be not greedy upon it, right? Well, I get this right. You just try to grab all and get all the best stuff. And say not, there's much meat on it. Okay. So it's talking about the desire of what I'm going to be greedy. Get the tent with the word they're using, getting greedy. All right. Greedy people don't worry about what? Others. It's a spirit behind it, beloved. Okay. A lot of rich people don't worry about sometimes others. who they had to step on or whatever to get where they at. That's the issue, not the wealth. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 13. Remember, all right? Remember that a wicked eye is an evil thing, and what is created more wicked than an eye? Therefore it weepeth upon every occasion. All right. That eye, how we view things, our perception of things, all right. Nothing more evil than that. All right. Some another scripture to talk about, having that eye towards your brother or sister. Right. I just don't like them, right? Because once you have that perception, that's going to become your reality, beloved. Right? If I have a problem, which one sister I want to get? I use Mother Val because I know she won't mind, right? I just want to I don't like Mother Val, right? I can if once I don't like Mother Val, right? My mind and everything I'm looking at is going to give me that uh justification of maybe why I don't like Mother Val, right? Then it's going to be coincidence that as soon as I feel that I don't like her, things are going to happen. Now I got this person come to me talking about how they got a problem with Mother Val. But in my mind, I'm saying, see, that's the spirit, that's the Holy Ghost bringing them to me. No, they don't always say Holy Ghost. Sometimes the devil brings somebody to you so you can stay in that state, right? Let's say Mother Val did a mistake. See, she got the devil, and I knew it. See, God's exposing her. But if I didn't have a problem with her, and I loved her like the scriptures was saying, when that person coming to me, oh, no, I don't need to hear that. Did you go to her? Do you let her know? All right, I don't want to be involved with that. All right. When she do something wrong, if I love her, how am I going to do it? I'm going to extend maybe grace and mercy towards the situation. But when I don't love her, I'm withholding that. And I'm just going to extend condemnation. And this is what Christ was talking about. Don't judge people, right? Whatever measurement you put upon them, right? You'll be measured back and all those kind of things. He's talking about that condemnation. Okay? You not liking a lot of times some people. And if you are looking at a situation with an impure eyes, right? You're going to judge the situation wrong. And if you are unjust judge, beloved, what do the scriptures talk about with you? You're off. So as much as you think you're judging them, you're not in the right spiritual mindset to judge them. Therefore, you judge yourself. That's what Christ was getting on. Because it's easy to condemn other people and to what? Justify your sins, your shortcomings. It's easy. Okay? Our spirit loves to do that, justify everything we done wrong, but it loves to condemn everybody else. Okay? So we got to change our eyes. Okay? This is why I say it's so strong, beloved. That forgiveness stuff is so strong because it's not about the other person all the time. It's about you. Right? Let's keep going. Verse 14. Stretch not thy hand whithersoever it looketh, and thrust it not with him into the dish. All right. So once again, you look, you have this spread. Let me get right. You see that person. Oh, I want to grab this and stretch it over the table, grabbing this and all that stuff. Oh my gosh. First thing they're not showing is what? No decorum and no restraint. All right. This is that greedy mindset. Not worrying about everybody else. I ain't worried about this. I'm just worrying about me. And the scriptures is teaching about love. Love is not selfish. Love is about worrying about the whole, not the individual. And this is what the scriptures and the spirits will be getting with us. It's about others. Stop making everything about you. Okay? Let's keep going. Thrust not into the dish. Judge not thy neighbor by thyself, and be discreet in every point. Eat as it becometh a man. Those things which are set before thee, and devour not, lest thou be hated. Okay? So, beloved, make sure we're not. He says, judge not thy neighbor by thyself. Very important because sometimes we can get our eye matched. We can see certain things a certain way. All right. And we need to learn right discretion and discipline, things of that nature. And this is not just towards bad things. Sometimes we unintentionally judge something and we're off, and sometimes you had another person's point of view. Hey, you had counsel before. It can help you sometimes with certain situations. Can you make a mistake with counsel? Because the scriptures talk about there's a safety in counsel, right? Yes, you can make a mistake with even counsel. All right. Even we talk about here, we got brothers, we might deal with counsel. We can have a wrong judgment to something. We're not, it ain't saying we can't. However, we did the proper measurements to alleviate maybe something that's obvious or something that is biased, right? That maybe one person had, right? Usually it's hard when you got 3 or 4 people and you try to be on one accord than just you. When it's just you, it's like, oh, I can make this thing, blah, blah, blah. I see like this is great. But when you got 2 or 3 or 4 people, you have your different mindsets and your perceptions, but you're supposed to be still in that one spirit to say, okay, if we all can touch and agree on this, okay, this seems like it's something good. All right. It can still be a better way. The spirit is going to make it give us the best way. All right. But it does instruct us to have that counsel, beloved. All right. So even with certain situations, it's good to have a brother or sister. You know, what you think about this? Right. What's your thoughts on this? Right. And that can sometimes help you, right, to look at things clearer. All right. Maybe seeing, oh, wow, I didn't even see it like that. Because a lot of times, sometimes we misjudge things from our point of view. Sometimes it's not always evil intent. Right. So we want to make sure we are, if you can, sometimes bounce things off of other people with certain things. And I would say with people, your brothers and sisters in the truth, because like I said, the world have different standards. So sometimes their point of view can be skewed. Right. But this is what it's about. Okay. Let's keep going now. Go to something else. All right. Verse 17. Leave off first for manners' sake, and be not unsatiable. I forgot. I looked up how to say that a while ago, so forgive me. Least thou offend. All right. Least thou offend. All right. So when you look at it, and I did look up this word a while ago, it's basically somebody that can't like be like satisfied and stuff like that, I believe. All right. So leave off the manner's sake and be not unsatiable, lest thou offend. All right. Because you can offend being that way. Verse 18, when thou sittest among many, reach not thy hand out first of all. Okay. So beloved, if you get invited somewhere, don't be, as soon as you sit down, they got the spread out. You the first one, oh, let me go and grab it. Right. No. Right. We supposed to sit, let somebody else go first, and then you get in your line. You know, when you at them your little family reunions and stuff, right? They've got the spread, you got that person that jumps up and always gotta be first and grab all the stuff, right? And you got some people that sit back, oh my gosh, they don't got no home training. They act like this, right? It's a little judgment that comes through it, right? The Most High understands the makeup, right, of us, all right, and the spirit of men and how we deal with certain things. So, beloved, like I said, to give you favor, you don't want to be jumped up. Like, look at them. And you know how we become. Look at that nigga. Yeah, so greedy. Look at them. Act like they ain't never ate in their life, right? All those kind of things. All right. Now, is it a sin or wrong to be first? No, but you want to look at these things, right? Let somebody else go, and then you can go. All right. So when you're doing those things, it can give you sometimes favor. It can show that, okay, this person is disciplined. They showing manners and things of that nature. Right? This is what the scripture do teach, beloved. Let's keep going. Verse 19. A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured, and he fetch not his wind short upon his bed. Okay. So when you look at this, beloved, a very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured. So a lot of times, beloved, unfortunately, we're not always that well nurtured. All right. Not take care of or eating the right things. Because what I realized, even with this, when you look at this, with our food and all those kind of things, when we're eating proper stuff, a lot of stuff we get in from this American culture is junk. But when you're eating the good thing, nutritious stuff, you don't need sometimes a big portion, and a lot of times it can satisfy you longer. Okay. When you eat junk all day, your parents say, stop eating all that junk food. You got to put something on you. You got to put, you got to eat something right? Because sometimes we're lacking nutrition, and sometimes our body is saying we need vitamin C, but all we interpret is we're hungry, and we're just throwing all this kind of crap in there. Okay. So the right nutrition can also satisfy you. Okay. And it ain't about the amount of portion, all this, stuff. You want to get the right stuff. All right. And when you're eating right and you're having that proper, nutrition stuff, that can be able to satisfy you. All right. You don't have to clean out the whole feast. They'd be like, okay, now I'm full. Okay. So be mindful of that as well. All right. But if you're full, you're allowed to eat and be right. But, a lot of times we do have to have discipline over, not a lot of times, we have to have discipline over our body. And one of the things is dealing with food as well. Okay. And fetch not his wind short upon his bed. All right. And a lot of times you eat so much, you know people tired. You can just get up out the chair and somebody worn out and tired and everything, right? So you want to make sure, definitely we're younger. All right. When you get older, those kind of things happen. Right. When you're younger, try to be as active as you can. Try to put the right things in there. Because a lot of times our diet might not show up now, but it shows up later on in life. All right. And I got a big sweet tooth, beloved. But we do want to be mindful and take care of this body, because a lot of times, well, we only get one, beloved, right? We only get this one, I'll say, fleshly body. So we want to make sure we take care of it so it can be preserved and to do what we need to do. Okay. Verse 20: sound sleep cometh of moderate eating. He riseth early, and his wits are with him, but the pain of watching and choler and pangs of the belly are with him, or within an unsensual man. Okay. So, beloved, once again, does talk about what? Healthy lifestyle, beloved. Okay. I ain't worried about this. I'm just worried about serving God. I can do this to be about. I hear you. All right. But part of serving God is discipline, and what we want to make sure we get what? Moderate sleep and what? Moderate eating. Right. So we can. And these scriptures hit me, right? I'll eat, dessert, heavy, late, right? And sometimes what? Don't give you the best sleep. Sometimes we toss and turn it. Sometimes it's what we're eating, right? Sometimes we're up in the morning. It's not productive. We're not, maybe jumping up like we used to and stuff like that. Sometimes our diet and what we got in our stomach. Still trying to digest heavy stuff we put on it, okay? So when we're taking care of ourselves, our body's going to function differently, all right? We're going to be more what? Witty and more, alert and things of that nature. And the same thing with the spirit. If you're not disciplining the spirit, right, you're not going to be as sharp and as witty and, as disciplined as we should be. Verse 21: and if thou hast been forced to eat, arise, go forth, vomit, and thou shalt have rest. Right? So you've been forced to eat. He said, arise, go forth, and what? Vomit, throw it up. And then what? Thou shalt have rest. Okay. Verse 22: my son, hear me, and despise me not. And at the last thou shalt find as I told thee, and all thy works be quick, so shall there no sickness come unto thee. Okay, so I love that. Talking to what? I guess, dear children, all right? Hear me, listen. Don't despise what I'm telling you. This is despise me not. Don't want to reject this. I'm not here. Oh, here go mom again. Oh, here go dad again. Oh, here they go again. Right? Don't despise the words because they're what? Wisdom. Okay? But be what? In all thy works be quick. All right? Quick to do what's right, beloved. Okay? And I was talking about natural sickness here, but even there's natural sickness, there's spiritual sicknesses. Right? Sometimes we become spiritually sick because we're not quick to do what the Most High said. We know what the scriptures, we know what the teaching is saying, we know it's right and stuff like that, but we're going to be lazy to it. We'll get around to it. Okay? Some of us are procrastinators. All right, I'm telling myself, right? Want to procrastinate, wait till the last minute. Right? That's going to cost you in the spiritual realm. Right? You want to take your time serving God and you want to give him the leftovers of everything when it comes to you. But then when you pray, you want to be the first thing. You want to be heard right away. You want the Most High to drop I'm speaking as a man. You want to drop everything and make sure he comes and deal with your situation. But you give him the very least. You always, I got to go and do this. Oh, it's a Sabbath. I got to do this, right? You have that effort, right? But you want the Most High to jump up and come to your aid quickly, right? It's a little hypocrisy, ain't it? That's not fair, is it? Okay. So we got to make sure we are treating the Most High right and listening to the wisdom of the Most High, because all wisdom comes from what? Him. And if we fail to listen to the wisdom of God, there's going to be what, beloved? Consequences. Sometimes we thinking things is punishments. Really ain't really punishment. It's consequences. He said, listen, I'm going to throw all these commandments out there. What you're going to eat, what you're going to listen to, what you're going to do, right? He give you all these things. What kind of friends you should have, what kind of, party you should have. He gives you all these details. So, okay, do it. If you do it and you do these things, it's going to what? It's going to be great for you. But we want to pick it. All right, I'll do this. All right, I'm still do this and everything. And then we get mad at what the consequences of being disobedient. God's punishing me. No, he ain't really punishing you. It's consequences. But it's the consequences you chose. I said, instead of looking at, I said before you good and evil, I set before you consequences. All right? If you do this is the consequence you can choose. Or you can choose this consequence. I'm going to change the wording because sometimes they try to, depending on how somebody might look at it. But I want you to say it's consequence. For everything we do in life is consequences. Right? I advise you to work. Because there's consequences when you break, you get a check and everything. There's a consequence of that, right? But if you don't work, he punished me for not working. No, there's a consequence for not working. Okay? So these are the things we have to understand with the Most High God. When he's giving us these things, it's for our good. And that's the beautiful thing about this. We know it is not because he hates us. We should know that. But sometimes when we're not getting our way, we can look at God. It's easy to blame. It's easy to condemn him. Right? It's your fault that life is like this for me. But we never want to say, he did give me instructions. Let me look at the instructions he gave me and see, well, if I didn't do this, okay, there's a consequence for that. Maybe I'm living the consequence of my disobedience. That's going to take accountability, ain't it? But until you can mark it off that you've been doing all the things that he said, we shouldn't even form our mouth to blame him for anything. We can only say, man, this is the consequence. Lord, have mercy for my consequences that I chose. Have mercy upon me. And sometimes that's where the healing can happen. That's where the converting can happen, when we can acknowledge us. But sometimes we're always justifying us and our consequences that he can't work. Some of us we'll justify our consequences for years and years and years and years and years, and wonder, why ain't God present in my life? Because I'm still blaming him for the consequences that I chose for myself. And I believe we all did it. If not all of us, most of us did that, right? And we can thank the Most High God, he's not like us, that he's long-suffering, he's merciful. That when the day we acknowledge that and we throw our hands up to him, that he can forgive us in that moment. Not that day, in that moment that we truly put our hands up to him. All right? Can change that whole relationship around. Lord, I accept the consequence that I put upon myself, but have mercy upon me. And he can take you right out of them. Those years of bad consequences, right, that we think about, he can take you right out of it. Okay? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Verse 23. Whoso is liberal of his meat, men shall speak well of him, and the report of his good housekeeping will be believed. All right? So those that's what? They're not all uptight. Well, no, that's mine. I worked hard for that. I'm giving you that. I'm taking this, and you got to do that, right? Those that's what? Have an open heart, that want to support, want to help, right? People are going to speak well of this individual, right? And I want you to understand, beloved, there's people that make the bare minimum, just enough sometimes that they can cover their needs and their bases. And sometimes they give a little bit of what they have. And they will have a greater name than somebody that have great mountains of riches. So don't think I have to have all this money to get to that. No. Somebody, okay, that's open and charitable and have that giving heart will fall right in line with this. Okay, that's why I say it's not about money, as people say. That's somebody looking at it with an evil eye, all right, or impure eye that's always putting on money. It's the mindset, beloved. All right. It's a mindset. Verse 24. But against him that is a niggard, all right, of his meat, the whole city shall murmur, and the testimonies of his niggardness, all right, shall not be doubted of. All right, that is not a mistake, but you have to look at that word, right? Understand it, okay? So if you want to be stingy, all right, niggard is like stingy, okay? Stingy of his meat, the whole city shall murmur. Oh man, they uptight. Oh my God, they never want to give, right? I seen them with this stuff, they don't even want to share the little crumbs that they have, right? People gonna talk about that. That stingy person. And the testimony of a stingy shall what? Shall not be doubted of. Right? That name can stick with you. Man, they up tight. They never wanna share with anything or anybody, no matter what. Right? So we see, beloved, we see this stuff. This ain't nothing new. I want you to know this stuff. The Bible already talked about half the stuff we be talking about dealing with. We see this kind of stuff. Okay. 25. Show not thy valiantness in wine, for wine hath destroyed many. All right. Don't try to be great, when it comes to the drinking. All right. Trying to prove that, your strength in drinking. Because what? Wine also destroyed people. Okay. So, not saying it's wrong to drink wine, because we'll just tell you don't drink, but you have to be mindful. The Bible talks about what? Not letting wine and strong drink have mastery over you. I don't want mastery over you. They are in the reins. It becomes your master, right? You can drink and what? Have mastery over the drink. It ain't impacting you where you about to do something foolish, or you out there trying to fight or try to commit adultery with people's, like that kind of stuff, right? That's where what? It's a problem. Okay. But if you sip in moderation, okay, you don't have to drink, beloved, right? But it's permissible, but you have to do it in moderation. If you keep having the example, I keep drinking and something bad happened, then you need to stop drinking it. Okay. But it should not what? Don't be valiant in it. I gotta prove I can take, the whole bottle and get strong bottle, drink it to myself and all this kind of stuff. And then you being a drunk and all that stuff, what? The drinking has had master over you. All right. And when it has master over you, you are not in control. And beloved, Most High did not intend that we don't be in control of our bodies. Okay. Verse 26. The furnace proveth the edge by dipping. So doth wine the hearts of the proud by drunkenness. All right. So the furnace proveth the edge by dipping. So when you deal with the furnace, they give you little, blacksmith and stuff like that, silversmiths, right? So dipping by the edge, it proves it. Okay. So he's saying the same thing with wine of the hearts. All right. Of the proud by drunkenness. All right. It'll prove it. And a lot of times that wine, it will expose things, right, that was in you. Okay. So sometimes we call it intensifier, things of that nature. All right. Oh, I want to I'll just be fighting everything. Well, you need to stop drinking then. If that's what's going to correlate, if you're drinking, you're saying this is the reason why you do it, then you need to stop doing it. If not, then it's not a mistake. You're willingly intending to do those kind of things. All right. Do guys the job. I would have never argued. I would have never put hands on my wife. It's just when I drink. It ain't like it's the first time I did it. So maybe even if it was, and I don't particularly, I know things happen, right? Drinking intensifier. However, you had some control, and then you did that, and then you want to continue doing it and say it's just the mistake of when you're drinking. No, you're intentionally now doing those things because you shouldn't even want to take the risk. If you really felt that drink did that, you shouldn't even want to take the risk. But taking the risk is it's starting to have that mastery over you. Okay. Anytime you want to use the drinking as an excuse, then that means you just stop drinking. That's wisdom. Stop doing it. You don't have to drink. Nothing in the scripture saying thou should drink to be a man, or thou should drink to be a woman, or thou should drink because you're. Ain't no forced thing. Okay. But it's any abuse, and this drink or whatever. We want to make sure we are having control of our bodies, all right, our spirit. We want to be sober-minded at all times. Okay. But it's going to tell you what drinking is as well. So we'll get to it. Verse 27. Wine is as good as life to a man. So wine can be like life. Listen, if it be drunk moderately, all right, What life is then to a man that is without wine? What kind of life do a man have without the wine? For it was made to make man glad. So y'all say everything has its purpose. All right. So drinking in moderation, all right, can make you what? Glad. You'll see some people when they're, and I'm not talking about drunk bar when they just trying to drink and fight stuff, but when you see people, you have a little thing, you go in the house, y'all drinking, sipping on wine, or maybe have a shot or two. All right, don't go crazy with the shots, right? Right? What do you see people doing? They're usually laughing. You see the ladies dancing, right? You do all those kind of things, right? You're having a good time. That's what it was intended for. But I told you, beloved, you can make a blessing into a curse. The Most High said, this is for this purpose, this reason, to make you glad, to make you happy. Okay, you can do that. Can you be happy sober? Absolutely, beloved. All right. But some people, like he's saying, that's fine, as long as it's in moderation. Have fun. That's what it's for. Okay. Just don't go too far, because then it's going to be unhealthy. Okay. In the sense of what you're going to be doing, your behavior. You don't want to forget about God. All right. Getting all drunk and everything, you're going to forget and start doing some stuff. Okay. So he's saying be mindful. All right. And if somebody do drink, and some people don't intend to get drunk, and some they get on the drunkenness, those that are sober-minded, stuff like that, this is where you have that compassion. You what? You be that protection for your brother and sister. All right, you got enough. That's it. Right? And go and chill. You protect them. All right. Take the time to mock them and say, "Oh, you're insane. You're such a heathen. Why you doing it?" Because no, it's sometimes you ain't gonna know the limit, right? One shot or one glass can take you right over that limit. So we want to make sure we're what? Loving one another and looking out for one another. Okay. But just making that clear. But like I said, you don't have to drink, beloved. All right. But somebody do, they are not in sin alone, as long as they do it in moderation. Verse 28. Wine measurably drunk, listen, wine measurably drunk and in season bringeth gladness of the heart and cheerfulness of the mind. 29. But wine drunken with excess maketh bitterness of the mind with brawling and quarreling. And we see that, right? You'll see on one instance, you'll see people laughing and drinking, the festivals, right? They're having a good time. It's a good celebration tool, all right? But on the flip side, if they go a little too far, what do you see as well? People get drunk, they fighting and punching and kicking and getting all over emotional with certain things, right? It can do that. So you see the fine line you talk about with it. It is good. It is good if you're using it according to its proportion. But if you go too far, it can be damaging. Okay? But that's with not just drinking, that's with a lot of different things, right? Using the intended purpose, it can be good. You get too much, that'd be bad. All right. Tylenol stuff is good if you take it to the moderation of how the bottle tells you. But if you, all right, take too many at one time, it's gonna be your last headache. All right, I understand it. You can, it can harm. You can be in the hospital. That'd be the light side of it, but it's also gonna be your death if you take it too much, right? So that's why it's very important, the moderation of things. All right, because we can agree there's certain medicines that are good for you in that moderation. But if you go too far, then it can become harmful. Same thing with the drinking. Okay. Verse 30. Drunkenness increaseth the rage of who? A fool, till he offend. It diminished strength and maketh wounds. All right. So drunkenness will increase what? The rage of a fool. All right. That person keep drinking, and they start getting more and more, all right, out of character, and they're going to make somewhat mistakes and big moves. Okay, so once again, you have to be mindful. Okay, and it's good if you're doing any kind of like this. You're around a bunch of heathens. Sometimes they're going to, promote it, because they want you to make a fool so they can mock you and stuff like that. But as brothers and sisters, if somebody drinking around us, we want to make sure we're looking out for our brothers and sisters. Okay. What was one that I had to add to that? Like that. All right. Verse 31. All right. Verse 31. Rebuke not thyself. I'm sorry. Rebuke not thy neighbor at the wine. All right. Okay. I'll rebuke him and correct him. And despise him not in his mirth. Give him no despiteful words, and press not upon him his urging. I'm sorry. And press not upon him with urging him to drink. Okay. So, beloved, we don't have to both things. Somebody has to, first of all, we know they need to be above age, stuff like that, right? But you don't need to rebuke somebody, all right? Whether they're drinking wine, whether they're enjoying their money, you don't need to, be rebuking them, all right? Chastising things of that nature. But what else? Give him no despiteful words, and press not upon him with urging him to drink. All right. You also don't need to press somebody to drink. Okay. Once again, it will not give you closer to the kingdom by getting somebody to drink some wine or anything like that. Okay. Neither it takes you further away if you did drink some. Okay. So there's a chapter. If anybody need to know, if they're allowed to drink and everything, you can bring somebody here and let them know. All right. But beloved, we want to be mindful of brothers and sisters. Some people, this is what they call their vice, or they're vulnerable to it. Okay. So you want to make sure you know those things for just offering certain things, because we don't want to be a stumbling block for somebody. All right. And this is not just drinking, but with anything, we have to be mindful. Okay. So, beloved, anybody have anything before we bring this to a close? Good, we're good, we're good. All right, those that's watching on YouTube, we are going to end it for y'all. All right. As always, we say shalom or shalom or shalom, which just means peace. And then y'all have a thumb.